So first of all, Jain sir, uh, I will like to thank all three of you for having, as a normal citizen of India, because of all three of you, we are sleeping peacefully and living our life normally. Sir, my first question is, in terms of modernization, in both army, aviation, and the navy, uh, India is how much equipped in terms of the our enemy countries like China. Means I have look on the internet, the machines or the aircraft or the submarines, they are very less in compared to the other countries. So in future, if any war happens, then how we are prepared for fight against our enemy? And the second question is, sir, uh, as many of our friends are preparing for the uh, army entrance exams, they have constantly telling about the Agniveer scheme. Means they are telling that they are only able to serve in the only for the 4 years. So means they are not happy that they will only get chance for the 4 years. Uh, so what are your views, sir, on it?
Okay. Channel. On what you read on the internet is kind of information which is many times distorted. You want to compare with China? Your basic point is right that in terms of total assets, in terms of let's say if talk of aircraft, you mentioned ships, submarines, they have more. But when we do a assessment, we do a threat assessment. If I have to talk from Air Force perspective, we see what is going to be brought against us, how much we need to cater, what is required to hold them or to win a area, which win a conflict in the situation that is likely to arise. And for that we prepare ourselves. For that we see whether our assets are good enough. We need to have more. So it's a continuous process. Where are we today? For a situation that may happen on our borders, for the level of situation that may happen, we are adequately equipped. We are well equipped. What needs to be done in future is a different story, because the Chinese, threat and the general feel of the way he is progressing needs to be kept in mind. So for the future, we need to, I mentioned some of those issues, we need to really develop in areas that are futuristic and build our capability. So today we are at a certain level. In future, we really need to expand that. I'm talking of Air Force perspective, naval and perspective will be covered, but this is what we need to understand. On the Agniveer side, I think what you can explain to your friends is, look, these reforms in terms of how we are going to manage our HR resources, how we are going to take our induction, and how we are going to work towards the future requirement. There is always a cycle. Whenever a change happens, it is always a question mark in many minds as to whether it will succeed, whether it will not. A lot of thought goes into it. Okay, so uh, what needs to be understood is, for people who are wanting to stay for the long term, after getting into Agniveer, they need to do well, and they will come into that bracket which will become permanent. That is what needs to be understood. And for people who do not become permanent, or people who do not want to become permanent at the end of their engagement period, because that is when you learn about what Army, Air Force, Navy is all about, and whether you want to continue, then you have an option to leave, and you will have necessary support from services and from the government in many areas. So it's a scheme that needs to be understood correctly and applied. For people who really want to continue, you have an option to continue. You do well, you will be in the chosen few. Okay? That's what you need to explain to your friends. Thank you.
Hello.
To take on
Jain,
from
sir.
what RK has said, that HR policies of any organization will always undergo changes. It is not that you have a certain HR system of hiring, promotions, release and that it will continue for time immemorial. Just to put the current scheme into perspective, till the mid-70s, soldiers used to only serve for 7 years. And there was no pension thereafter. But then it was felt that they're going out with such less service at a young age, so let us make it pensionable service. But you cannot give pension with just 7 years service, so the terms of engagement were changed. And it was brought up to 15 years minimum. And only after 15 years of continuous service did a Jawan, airman, sailor get entitled to a pension. So a change has happened. At that time also there was a UN cry that how will we fight with an old army, with an aging army. Today, it is the exact opposite argument which is being thrown. But that has also worked. The new system will also work. We have to give it a try. We cannot discount or negate any new policy without having tried it out and given it time to establish itself. And as R.K. mentioned, a number of people will get retained, and if there is requirement of further tweaking the system, then mid-course corrections will be carried out from time to time. As far as the relative strengths of the armies are concerned, it is not the overall strength that matters, but how much of that strength you can bring to bear at the point of decision. That is what is important. And that is what generalship is all about. If any of you all are military history buffs, you all can look at Operation Barbarossa. That is the German invasion of Russia during World War II. At the start of the German invasion, Germany was inferior in total numbers in all aspects, in manpower, in number of tanks, in number of guns, in number of aircraft. The ratio was 1:1.2, 1:1.3, all in favor of Russia. Yet, it is Germany who attacked Russia and had spectacular victories till they lost their way due to some other reasons. So, don't get carried away by numbers. And more than that is also the man behind the machine. I will say with a great deal of conviction, and I say this not only for the army, but also for the Navy and Air Force, that our men are head and shoulders above anything that the world can produce.
Next question by a girl, please.
Hello.
Yes, just 1 minute.
Jain sir. Myself Pratik Mundada.
As a naval officer, he tends to forget about me. This, wars are battles, or larger wars are based on comprehensive national power, which Air Chief Marshal R.Bhaduria also mentioned. So you have to look at not only your ability of or just the Army, Navy, or Air Force. It is the largest strength of a country to take on another. So as far as comprehensive national power is concerned, definitely we are at a disadvantage because it involves, China has invested heavily in a lot of things, especially R&D. One kind of R&D is when you do pure science, and one is when you construct or you manufacture. Manufacturing R&D, they have done a lot of work. But having said that, when you start doing bean counting, you sometimes tend to go wrong. Because there are several intangibles which are also determine victory or loss in a head-on conflict. Whether it is of course, technology is important. How well you are networked, or how good are your personnel? How well trained are your personnel? How motivated are your personnel? What kind of doctrine do you follow? Have you looked at the future? What kind of future will conflicts? What is the future of conflict? How you can surprise an enemy? So there are several factors that come into this thing, and that is why I think it's extremely important to treat the services as a very, very important profession, because it involves not only preparing for today, but preparing for tomorrow and the day after. because technologically intensive services have to look far ahead. Similarly, the Agniveer, I can tell you, is going to be a leadership challenge for the armed forces. And we have to, that is where I think we are very strong. We've got good leaders, good officers, and they will have to make sure that the Agniveers are up to it, up to this thing. If they don't, then it will not be good. But if they do well, then I think this scheme will succeed. Thank you.